Hello, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today is day 102 of 365 days of junk journal ideas. Today we are going to make some large flip outs out of envelopes and some coffee dyed little numbered, they're like miniature card file dividers. And they have little tabs on the side. All of my stuff is coffee dyed, and so I'm going to make these into journal cards, and I'm going to make these into flip outs for the journal cards for my journals. And we're going to be using some rag paper book page, and this is a sheet or a part of a sheet of the Italian Florentine paper, and it has these lovely owls on it, and I thought for a botanical journal we could use that. So we're going to decorate, this will be the focal point on the journal cards. So let's go ahead and get started today. First things first is I need to find some book page to put behind the owls. I know that I want to use this guy here. So there's two. We need to make one more. And this can be the third one. So there's some rag paper. And then we need to cut these owls out. And we're going to just choose, I don't know, a couple of them randomly. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. So sometimes owls are scary looking and they can be used for like Halloween journals. And sometimes owls are just more cute, woodsy animals. So, it depends on the owl image, I think, whether they're Halloween or not Halloween. But these ones, I think, because they're on French postcards, they'll be fine. They're not too scary looking or anything like that. So there's two. Let's go ahead and get this guy. And then that's the third one. So we're going to make three today. I know that we won't get to decorating the envelope part of this, but we'll at least do the journal card while we're live. Or not live, but while I'm filming. And so I'm just going to cut these guys out the rest of the way. I hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend. It is Saturday morning here, or at least this video is airing on Saturday morning, and we're just going to make these large journal cards. I think this one is fine like that, but this guy needs a little bit cut off the bottom of him. There we go. So it's nice when your focal points are pretty much already decorated, like this is layered onto this old postcard, and so that kind of helps give us some layer back there. All right, so there's those. Now let's ink around these little focal points, and then let's go ahead and get our backgrounds done. So you could back these onto cardstock or something too to help with the inking process, because the paper is kind of thin. It's Florentine paper, which is like 24 to maybe 28 pound weight. It depends. This is an older piece of retired pattern Florentine paper. So we can't get this one anymore. They'll bring it back at some point, but for right now it's not available. The Florentine paper really does come in a bunch of variety of patterns, doesn't it? Like, who would have thought they would have had owl French postcard paper, but they did. We brought this in a couple sheets last year. We didn't have very many. I think there was like 20 or something last year, and that was just randomly they had it available. I'm gonna ink this corner just because it's like the postcard that they scanned to make the digital print had a bent or torn corner there, so I just wanted to blend that in. And here we go for this one. So it's Saturday morning. Let's see what we have coming up for the week. We have a live sale on Tuesday. We had our journal class earlier. Well, it's earlier today for me, but on Friday. We will be doing something different this Friday. I'm not sure what yet. We have a new journal kit coming out on Tuesday. Lots of different things happening. This week, coming up in the 365 series, I'll be doing the tool videos with some other added bonus videos so we can make some more ephemera. We'll ink around these journal cards here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get this paper put on them. And I'm thinking I want to cover pretty much the whole front of the journal card. Now, these are copy dyed, so you can just leave the back the way it is. But for the front part, I think I would like to cover the entire card. Now, you do have these tabs that are already on there, so you need to get your paper to where it looks okay, you know, with that tab there. I don't want to cover up my tab, basically. So we're just going to glue the card and stick it onto the paper. So let's get out something to glue on. And we're just going to glue up this whole card and then stick our paper on. Now, if you're putting this in an envelope, you might consider where you want your tab to go. For me, it's not going to matter as much, but for some people, you're going to look at where your tab needs to be, like which side of the card your tab needs to be on, depending on where your tab is poking out in your journal. So just keep in mind, you might need a tab on the right, you might need a tab on the left, just depending on where you're putting it. That's all that was to say. Okay, we've got some glue there. Boy, this card is just sucking in the glue, isn't it? And so right here, I'm just going to tear a little section out so that I can get that kind of around my tab. Don't quite want it that low. I want to be able to see the dictionary words across the top. And I think we got them there, but I also want this to be straight. So I think we're kind of good. We're kind of crooked. I'm going to do it one more time. Even if I rip my paper, I'm going to do it one more time. All right, so let's focus this way, and then maybe I can line it up without it being a mile away from my face. Is that any better? Or did I literally put it in the same exact spot? No, that's better. Okay, there we go. So we got that lined up on there. I hope it's all right. It's a little crooked. Oh well, it's all right. So then we're gonna cut that out here in just a second when it's dry. I think I can live with that one. Let's keep going. Move these guys out of the way, glue up our next card, and stick our paper on. I think it works better for me sideways like this, so we'll try that this time. And I really am adding a lot of glue to this just because this card, it's different than a file folder. I don't know what it's made out of, but it is a different material. And I liked that torn little section there. So I'm going to tear it again and kind of get it like that. There's that one. And that one's on. We'll cut around those here in a minute. And let's do this one. So this should be pretty fast. We might be able to get 3 done in 15, 20 minutes. Looking like 20, but we'll see. So after we get our paper glued on, a lot of people ask, well, why, if it's copy dyed, why do you put the paper on? Why do you put the book page on? The book page adds a layer of text. The text translates to your eye as texture. It's just the text is the printed words on the page, but to your eye, it adds the interest, but it also adds texture. And so it's just another nice layer for your eye to look at instead of just copy dyed paper. Some people, they're like, well, it's already copy dyed. You don't need to add anything back there. You are correct. You don't need to. But if you want to, you can. And I want to. So I am. We kind of got some of the word on that one. There we go. Now let's start by cutting these. I got dried glue bits everywhere. Let's start by cutting these from the one that we made first, which is this one. And so I'm just going to take my scissors and follow right around with the card. And we're just going to cut around the tab as well, if we need to. The tearing of the paper around it really did help, didn't it? Okay. Now, if this was all the way dry, you would be able to cut this much easier. Every time I do a video, my glue is wet, and it is harder to cut when it is wet because the paper wants to fold away from you and do different things whenever the moisture is on the paper in the card. So I always recommend you guys cut your things after they're fully dry. It really doesn't take long for them to dry, but for the sake of the video, we just move on by. So this one did not get the words. It's all right. It's sad, but it's all right. I can live with it. Goodness. See again here, it's like that corner wants to curl. Okay. And we're sticking. We're sticking everywhere. Got that one. There's that. So we are going to make some oversized. By oversized, I mean these are 5 by 8 plus a tab. So they are definitely big, jumbo, oversized cards. You can make these any size. You can make them out of regular index cards and add your own tab to them. If you have one of the tab punches that is not the whale tail, but it's the file folder tab like this guy is, you can use that to punch out a tab and add it to the side of the card. And that might be easier than trying to work with a card that already has a tab on it. But these are index card dividers. If you look like on Amazon, you'll probably find some that are like for every day of the month. I think it was a set of 1 through 31 or something like that. Numbered little tabbed divider cards. And that's what these are. But again, you could just use a regular index card and add your tab on. Okay, all of that in the trash. And now let's put some owls on these guys. So this is what we ended up with. And we're going to add a couple other layers here too. We're not just adding owls to them. We'll add a couple other layers. That guy started to kind of crinkle the paper. This guy's my favorite because we got the words across the top. That's how they all should have looked. However, they did not end up looking like that. I can live with it. I just have to keep telling myself that. And then we're going to put some owls on them. But you can see we're going to need something else back there. It's just not, it's not decorative enough. And, you know, I have millions of things I could layer with them. So let's just layer some things with them. I know that I want to layer Florentine paper with these guys. I don't have very much Florentine paper going on in this journal. So let's layer some Florentine paper. We've got the green. And we've got this green, and we've got, ooh, these are both pretty too. Decisions. So I definitely like this one. Let's layer that on one. And I think this one might be too orange. We have an orange tab though. It's kind of cute with the orange tab. I don't know if I want to do it or not do it. I definitely want those two. Let's not do the orange. I think the orange is just too much orange. So let's move all that over there as I shove it off my desk. Okay, and then for this Florentine paper, we need to decide, like, do you want it coming down from the left? Do you want it coming down from the right? I think we're going to make it come down from the right side. So I'm just going to tear this piece of paper, and I'm going to tear it like this, coming down from the right side. Let's see, is that going to be big enough? Nope, we're going to have to go this way. Coming down from the right side. Here we go. And we're just going to layer that on there. We're going to cut off some of that and put it like this. That looks good. Okay, can live with that. And then for this one, let's get it to go directional, and let's get it again to come from the right. We'll go that direction. And there's those guys. Beautiful. And same thing with this one. We will go from the right. And here's this guy. So there's Florentine paper and Florentine paper. They're both Florentine paper. Let's get those Florentine papers inked and then glued. They don't need too much ink. I'm not looking for super grungy, but I'll just rub it quickly on that tear line. And then we will move on. Just enough to see it. We're going to glue those and layer them on. And then we'll need to come back and do a little bit more. We're always doing more. More layers, more layers, more layers. It's always better when you try to glue when you don't have things underneath, right? All right, so let's see what else we got going on. We've got in the Facebook group, on May 1st, we will begin a new challenge in the Facebook group. And the Facebook group is called Junk Journal Makers. It's my Facebook group, and it's linked in the description box below the video. And on May 1st, we're going to do a challenge. With every challenge I do in the group, you guys get a nice prize. It's a $50 Amazon gift card. So that's kind of fun too. Then you can go shopping for whatever junk journal supplies you are looking for. I'm going to get that right up to that number, but not cover that number. So it's an Amazon gift card, and you can get whatever junk journal supplies you've been hoping for, you asked Santa for, and Santa didn't bring you. Now you can get them with a gift card. And I figure that's kind of the best prize, because then you guys get what you actually want instead of a random prize that maybe some of you already have, or, you know, doesn't really interest you, etc. So anyway, the Facebook group has the challenge, and it starts on May 1st. You'll just go to the Facebook group on May 1st, or hopefully before that, and check it out. And then there'll be a challenge that prompts you to post a certain thing every day of the week or every day of the month or whatever. I don't know what it is yet, but something like that. And then you'll be entered to win. We've done this before. It's usually super fun. Everyone enjoys it. We all get to check out your posts every day. You guys get more fun posts to look at in the Facebook group, and that also helps inspire other people with their makes. There's always so much going on. So many things happening. All right. I hope you guys are getting some crafty time in this weekend. I'm hoping to spend Sunday finishing up some journals. We talked about it in the live where I needed to finish a bunch of journals. So I'm hoping on Sunday I get a chance to finish some. I don't know if I'll finish all, but I'll finish some of them for sure. Okay, so there's those layers. And then same thing, we need to cut off the excess again. This is how collage works. Is you have to cut off the excess. Either that or you have to measure and cut exactly every single time. I am just a cut off the excess kind of person. And I think it creates a bunch of small little scraps, and those little scraps are fun to use in other projects. Like the postage stamp little clusters, I found a bunch of extra little tiny little pieces that, you know, were super cute for collage, but something that you know, you wouldn't necessarily look at using if it was a whole sheet. So I like the fact that there's extra little bits laying around the desk. To me, that is just helping with the creativity in my brain. Because sometimes those little pieces just jump out at you and say, use me, use me. So we're definitely going over 20 minutes with this one. Well worth it, I hope. And let's do this guy. So I like the little offcuts. That's, you know, what I was trying to say there is don't worry, I don't waste them. They all get used. There we go. All right. Now it's time for these guys. Unless you want to put like paper doily or something else back there. I think you just need to play with placement. I like that. I think this one looks good here and this one here. Okay, So if you want to add another layer back there. I think this is okay. You certainly could add some doily back there. If I have some here, we might consider it. Let's see. Okay, so I decided not to use the doily under them, but I did find some other fun things to use. I'm going to use this German fabric measuring ribbon, and I found some lovely offcuts of ledger, and basically they're just these small pieces of ledger offcuts, but I like the fact that there's handwriting, French handwriting on them. So I think we can use these instead to add interest. So let's go ahead and layer up some things and see how we like them. For these little bits of handwriting, you could use a digital that's cut up. You could use really anything that has a little bit of handwriting, whatever side I think is better here. I like these two because they're skinny. Let's see about using these. We could do it up here at the top because we will have a label on these. And so I might want to layer that little rough torn handwriting bit up here as long as it fits. See, that would be too low. I think we need to tear off this little bit here. So we're going to rough tear this. I guess this will turn into a longer video. And I'm going to rough tear this edge over here. And then let's see if we can get it to layer in there. This might be better on one where we don't have the words at the top to contend with. And I think that is better. So that's pretty good. I don't know if I want that straight edge of the ledger right there, but that's pretty good. I think we're going to tear it. Just kind of rough like that. So that's for that one. Those do need inked around before we use them. This is a much skinnier one. Let's tear off the top of it as well. So sometimes when I'm tearing around little things like this, sometimes I need to tear all four sides. Sometimes I only need to tear two. In general, for me, it's either two or four. Sometimes it's all, sometimes it's just a bit. And it really just depends on the look of the thing. So there's that one. And let's see about this one. There's not really anything of interest on the other side of it, and I can't tear the top because there's not enough space at the top of the writing. So we're going to look at that and see how we like it. Maybe we want to go over the top of our little owl. So some of them can be underneath and some of them can be over the top. If it's going to be over the top, it does need to be rough torn, in my opinion. So I'm just going to tear gently underneath that signature. I think we might go over. I don't know. Anyway, let's cut those down. I could hem and haw on what to do about every little thing. And generally when I'm crafting by myself, I do spend a little more time. I've paused the video too and, looked at things before I continued. But in general, when I'm crafting by myself, I do spend a little bit more time auditioning and trying things. I don't feel like I can get away with that as much here because you guys are all waiting and it's different, right? You're watching, your time is valuable too. And I try to keep that in mind when I'm crafting. It doesn't always work where we have short videos. Here lately, we've gone completely away from the 15 minutes and I would like to get back to 15 minutes next week. So I think we can get back to filming and putting the videos up at 3 a.m. like we used to, 3 a.m. my time in Arizona. And I think we can get back to doing the 15-minute videos. At least that's the goal. Let's get these layers glued down. The magic of TV. They are all layered up and ready to go for the next step. The next step is the little German laundry ribbon stuff. So it's actually like, I don't know what to call it. It's a little paper tape ribbon, and it was made, its original purpose. These are vintage. They are no longer available anywhere. If you do happen to find one, they are super, super expensive. And so these were made to measure the amount of fabric. So we're going to glue those on. You don't need to ink them or anything else. I'm just going to run some art glitter, or not art glitter, Oohoo glue stick down them and put them on, and I will be right back. Okay, so a bunch of different thoughts. I've got the laundry ribbon put down at the tops of both of these, or all three of these. I also found some little circles, and I was like, okay, well, maybe those would look good somewhere on here. I found these little black numbers, and I was playing around with those, you know, seeing about putting that kind of a thing on here. This kind of thingy. It's yes and no. I like it and I don't like it. So I'm not sure if we're going to put the circles or whatever. I'm still playing with that. I just wanted to come on and show you guys different little things that I found. I found 3 of these little guys, so you could go up there and put those numbers up there. There's 3 of these numbers where you could have that number instead of the numbers at the bottom. You could have these. I found some little Tim Holtz little cards like these guys. They could definitely go down here as a label. And I think that might be kind of nice. I also found these, and these are those Tim Holtz calling cards. And I was wondering if maybe something like that would look nice down here as a label. I mean, if I was doing more girly stuff, I think this stuff would work, like the frilly, flowery, girly stuff. But I think I want to take these in a different direction. So after I've shown you all of those things, I was wondering about using, these are cigar bands. They're vintage or antique cigar bands. They're beautiful gold embossed little labels. Some of them have like people on them. Some of them, you know, just gold with embossing. They're really beautiful. But anyway, there's a bin of those. And I was thinking about putting those on. What these were the little bands that go around the cigar label. So what if we did something like that, and then we put that number down there in the corner? So we've got that, and we will do some kind of circular thing up there. I think we could get away with that kind of a look on these cards. So if I go in here and I add one of these to each one of these, I think we can do that. We kind of went more, a little bit more mixed media Tim Holtz than pretty on these. If you would have put lace doily or whatever behind it, you totally could go in that lacy direction and use those black calling cards. I don't like this circle thing as much. It's just a little bit too big. I think these other ones I can get to work, but they also are covering up like the stamp part in part. So some things to consider, but I think this is where I'm going to leave it for now, and you guys will just see them finished later. I did find this, and I don't know where this came from, but it's a sheet of stickers, and it says like life is precious, beautiful memories, true friendship, the adventure begins. So you could layer up some of these words, especially the ones with the black outline, and put those on here as well. You could just keep layering and layering and layering. I usually end up doing something more simple. Even that is enough. You do have that postage stamp showing up there, so even that is enough. It's kind of getting washed out and they're starting to curl. But if I block the light out of it, even this is enough for a pretty little journal card. You have plenty of elements on there, and maybe the 5 needs to go on this side. Without that circle, it changes the point where you need to add that 5. So I would put it down on this side without the circle. With the circle, if you put the circle back, it's too much on this side. So we need to move the 5 over here, but you guys get it. So just play around with your little bits. This is where I'm going to leave them for now. And I will come in and add something, at least some kind of label in this direction, maybe more numbers or cigar bands or something. But they're coffee dyed, and they're going to go in these big, beautiful envelopes that I have here. I'm going to do them as flip outs in the journal, and I will put the card in the envelope somewhere. I'm not sure if I want to flip it this way and slide the card in. We'll see once I get these in the journal. But they're very cute. I love the owl ones, and thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Thanks, guys. Bye.